Sonam Wangchuk is one of India's most celebrated grassroots innovators. As an engineer, he has spent decades designing solutions for some of the harshest environments on Earth. His work earned him global recognition. He won the prestigious Rolex Award for Enterprise and the Ramon Magsaysay Award, often referred to as Asia's Nobel Prize. He even designed vital infrastructure for the Indian state itself. When the Indian Army needed to shelter soldiers operating at extreme, freezing altitudes, Wangchuk developed mobile, solar-powered survival tents to keep them warm. Yet, in September 2025, the city of Leh erupted into violent clashes with riot police. The region was placed under strict curfews, and internet services were entirely blacked out. The state's response targeted Wangchuk directly. Authorities revoked the foreign funding licenses for his educational nonprofits, and he was detained under the National Security Act, a law typically reserved for severe threats to the state. To understand how a decorated engineer becomes labeled a national security threat, we have to look past the political noise. We have to analyze the specific mechanics of the things he actually built. Ladakh is a high-altitude, cold desert. For decades, the administrative systems imposed here were designed for India's flat, tropical plains, making them completely ill-suited for the fragile mountain geography. Wangchuk experienced this disconnect firsthand. As a child, he was forced into a standardized education system taught in a language he didn't understand. To fix this, he founded ESEC-MAL, an educational movement designed to create a hyperlocal, practical curriculum specifically for Ladakhi students. He applied this same local logic to the campus architecture. Using rammed earth and passive solar design, he engineered buildings that trap the sun's energy, keeping students warm through sub-zero winters without burning a single drop of fossil fuel. But the region faced a much larger survival problem. During the crucial spring planting months, local farmers faced severe water shortages because the natural mountain glaciers wouldn't start melting until much later in the summer. Wangchuk's solution was the ice stupa. It is an artificial glacier designed to capture and store winter stream water that would otherwise flow away wasted. This diagram illustrates exactly how the system works. An underground pipe taps into a mountain stream upstream. As water flows down, gravity builds intense pressure. When the pipe bends vertically into a nozzle, that pressure forces the water to spray high into the freezing winter air, where it crystallizes before hitting the ground. The conical shape is a precise thermodynamic calculation. A cone exposes the absolute minimum surface area to the sun. This ensures the ice heap melts at a highly controlled, slow rate, releasing water into irrigation channels at the exact moment farmers need it in the spring. By directly solving these critical resource and education failures, Wangchuk proved he could design better survival systems than the government, building an architecture of deep, unshakable trust with the local population. Eventually, the limits of local engineering became clear. You can build all the artificial glaciers you want, but if macro-level policies open the mountains to massive industrial mining, the ecosystem collapses anyway. To secure the region, Wangchuk identified a specific legal mechanism, the Sixth Schedule of the Indian Constitution. This provision grants tribal regions the authority to self-govern and protect their own land from outside industrial exploitation. Pressing for this constitutional protection required immense physical endurance. Wangchuk initiated a 21-day climate fast, surviving on nothing but water and salt at extreme freezing altitudes. Because he had spent decades proving his commitment to the people, his solitary fast catalyzed a massive movement. By late 2024, thousands of citizens joined him on a grueling month-long foot march from the mountains of Ladakh all the way to Delhi. This level of grassroots mobilization triggered immense anxiety within the central government. It culminated in the violent crackdowns of September 2025, where authorities bypassed standard legal procedures to detain him under the National Security Act. Wangchuk's approach remained consistent. He identified a systemic failure, political neglect, and applied a direct, functional solution. To a centralized government, this level of organized local mobilization looked like a direct challenge to its authority. The mass arrests sparked prolonged legal battles. Following intense public pressure and habeas corpus petitions filed by his wife at the Supreme Court, the government eventually revoked the detention orders, releasing Wangchuk in March 2026. The government no longer recognizes him as an asset. They treat him as an adversary. The conflict exposes a harsh geopolitical reality. Preserving a fragile, localized ecosystem requires strict environmental boundaries, a goal that is inherently incompatible with a state's drive for unchecked industrial expansion. When communities stop relying on the state for their basic education and resources, their demand for political autonomy becomes much harder to ignore. Then, technical innovation is no longer a localized project. It becomes a mechanism for self-rule.